We continue on our coverage with the Best of the Super Juniors and World Tag League that are running concurrently to each other over in New Japan. Tonight we are going to be covering nights 4 and 5, both of them from Tokyo, I believe. Yes, they were. Um, Overall, I wrote less notes on these two shows combined than I normally do for a single episode of AEW.
I probably, I probably took maybe a little bit leaner, than you said. I take for this, I take pretty scant notes. We talked about that. Okay, I have more notes for the Best of the Super Junior than the tag tournament.
Me too.
We'll just go for as long as we have stuff to talk about.
I know. Well, I think it's telling of how my notes are that not a ton happened. The matches, a lot of them were just there. None of them were awful, but they just weren't overly engaging, I guess. A couple, a lot of them, of the 10 block matches between the two tournaments. I don't know if there were any standouts in this one.
This may be a recency bias because I just watched it, but the one that sticks out of my mind, my favorite match on either of these two shows was Robbie Eagles versus Show. That match was awesome.
Sorry, I will take that back. Yes, that one was awesome because that's actually the longest one I have written as well. So now I'm scrolling through everything, but yeah, other than that, yeah.
I have a ton written for that match as well, but it's some really silly stuff.
It was a show. So let's get into it. We started off on night number 4, which happened on November 19th, 2020 at Korakuen Hall in Tokyo. And they kicked off the show again with Tomoaki Honma and Satoshi Kojima teaming up versus a Young Lion and Yuji Nagata, this one being Yota Tsuji being the Young Lion. And this one, fine match. Kojima hits a lariat, pins Tsuji for the win.
They had a good little tag match, then Kojima killed the Young Lion with a lariat for the
pin. Next up, we had Great Khan and Jeff Cobb versus Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens. So the Empire against Bullet Club here. Owens and Fale attack Cobb and Khan while they're getting in the ring. Fale beats down Khan on the outside for a bit. Cobb beats on Owens. So we got kind of a, I'll take your man out. You end up taking my man out. Fale gets hit with a bicycle kick when he gets it back in the ring. And then Khan just kind of pushes Fale over. It was kind of ridiculous because there was nothing behind the shot that he ended up taking a back bump for. Cobb and Owens get tagged in, so they're the legal men. A little bit of back and forth. Khan pushes Chase into Fale to knock him off the floor. Cobb hits Tour of the Islands on Chase, and they pick up the victory. So Khan and Jeff Cobb win that one.
Yeah, 6 minutes and 48 seconds. I will read the entirety of my notes for this match verbatim. They brawled all over, and then it broke down into a tag match, and then they got the heat on Chase, and then they beat him.
Yes, that was pretty much the extent of it. That sticks Jeff Cobb and Khan at 4 points, and it's pretty much a logjam at 4 points after the end of the night. Actually, same with the Best of the Super Juniors as well. The vast majority of everybody's sitting at 4 points. So we move on to Juice Robinson and David Finlay versus the team of Henare, Hiroshi, Tanahashi, and Toa Henare. And besides Juice getting what looks like a really bad shot to the nose, he was bleeding quite a lot. Hopefully it's not broken. I didn't hear anything. I don't know if you've watched ahead, so if they're playing off that or not, or if he has some black eyes.
No, I just finished Hiromu and Bushi like 30 minutes ago.
Okay, so I'm curious what how Juice is going to be looking when we watch night 6, but he basically got popped in the nose and was bleeding quite a lot from the nose. No huge moves. Juice wins with the Doomsday device on Henare.
Yeah, nice little match. Kevin Kelly's dog barked when Tanahashi made a comeback.
I missed that. I was probably typing.
That was my only real takeaway from this. Nice little match.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed, both teams are faces, so there was no shenanigans. Nobody was Tanahashi's knee did not take a beating in this match. One, because both Juice and Finlay don't use a submission for their finish, so and at that a leg submission, so it kind of makes sense that they wouldn't even bother going after the knee. So hey, one match where he doesn't get the knee beaten out of his knee. The crap beaten out of his knee. Next up, we have Evil and Yujiro Takahashi versus the Gorillas of Destiny. So we have Bullet Club versus Bullet Club. This is going to be one of 3 Bullet Club versus Bullet Club matches. We've already had one of them, so this is the second. Jado wants to do a 2 sweet with everyone before they start. And Evil, Yujiro, and Dick Togo attack God and Jado while doing it. Gorillas Destiny get the heat on Yujiro. Eventually, Yujiro gets a tag over to Evil. The teams fight on the outside a bit. Yujiro removes a corner pad, and Tama Tonga gets sent into it by Evil. A little bit of double team work from Evil and Yujiro, finishing up with Yujiro hitting a sliding drop kick for a 2 count. Tongaloa gets the hot tag and takes out Evil and Yujiro. Evil causes a distraction. Dick Togo chokes Tongaloa. Jado comes in and hits Togo with a kendo stick. God hits a magic killer on Evil, tries to hit one on Yujiro, but he escapes and then hits a dive to the outside on Tama Tonga. Jado hits Yujiro in the back with the kendo stick while he's running the ropes, and Tongaloa puts on a crossface, and Yujiro has to tap, and God gets the victory here.
Yeah, this didn't really hit for me. I've been a bigger fan of Gorillas of Destiny lately than I've ever been. I was kind of down on them for a long time, but maybe the past year or so, they finally started to I started to appreciate them as a team more. They also have great entrance music. That shit gets in my head.
Ever since Tama Tonga took on the good bad guy persona, when he was trying to be a good guy last year, but he was kept doing bad things, or people were making him do bad things, and he's like, I want to be a good guy. That was my favorite turn from him, and it's kind of pulled through on that.
My problem with this match wasn't with God. As we have established, I am sick to death of Evil and all this bullshit. Which is that because I have been an Evil fan, and I defended the big angle this summer using him, and then they just beat it into the ground. When the Jingu Stadium match was not the blow off with Naito, I was like, oh my god, and they've just been beating me to death with it ever since. So
yeah, I don't know why they went so high with Evil. Evil's never been that high up on my list. The only people I've seen him do really good matches with was Kenny Omega and maybe Okada, but that was about.
He had a killer match in Okada in the G1 last year or the year before.
Yeah, and then he had a really good one with Kenny Omega in the 2017 G1 as well. So, but he also got knocked silly right before the One Winged Angel as well. So, yeah. So we move on to Yoshi-Hashi and Hirooki Goto versus Toru Yano and Tomohiro Ichii. So we have chaos versus chaos here. So kind of like the face versus face match of Juice and Finlay versus Tanahashi and Henare, we don't have a lot of shenanigans going here for the most part, though we do have Yoshi-Hashi. He convinces Yano not to use the corner pad as a weapon, But after getting beat on by Yoshi-Hashi, Goto then does use it on both of them, and then runs Yoshi-Hashi into the exposed turnbuckle. Or sorry, that's Ichii. And then Yoshi-Hashi decides it's a good idea to stand and trade with Ishii, and he gets the crap knocked out of him for a bit. Goto and Yano have a good back and forth, ending up with Yano on the wrong side of a striking exchange, and ends up going into the exposed turnbuckle that he had exposed himself. Goto and Ishii throw hands. Yoshi-Hashi gets a tag in and works on a weakened Ishii.
Eric's having a fit there, so I guess I'll talk for a second. You all right there, bud?
Yeah, take over for a sec.
Okay, so I liked this match. It was the typical chaos battle. The guys who like to fight fought. Yano tried to cheat. They hit the GYR on Ishii. Yano saved. Yoshi-Hashi got a bunch of near falls on Ishii, but then Ishii hit the vertical drop brainbuster and won. I the best match on the show so far by a lot, but not as good as what's coming next.
Yeah, I thought this was a good match between the two Chaos teams. There wasn't a ton of shenanigans, and Yano wrestled more of a regular match than a Yano match, other than right at the beginning, and for the most part, that he wasn't doing too many shenanigans. So, decent match. Right team won, but that's how it's going to go. Next up, we have Dangerous Tekkers, Taichi, and Zack Sabre Jr. versus Sanada and Shingo Takagi. This was a good match. Zack and Shingo attack right. Zack and Shingo. Zack and Taichi. I totally typed that wrong. Attack right after they get introduced, and on the outside, Taichi chokes Sanada with a camera cable or mic cable. Red Shoes is useless as usual and does not DQ them, even though he's just like choking them. He does a 4 count and stops, even though the choke was never released. They stand on Sanada's face. Same thing. Referee does multiple 4 counts in a row without them actually ever breaking the infraction. We talked about this last time, that if you commit the same infraction over and over and over, that should be, the refs look so stupid in a lot of these matches. Shingo and Zack Sabre Jr. have some good back and forth. Sanada attacks Zack Sabre's knee. He hits an over-the-top rope crossbody to the floor. Sanada and Shingo hit a double-team Noshigami cutter combo. That was actually really cool. That should be a finisher. Somebody should have that as a finisher, because that was a really cool move. All 4 men exchange various holds. We have some dueling skull ends from Sanada and Shingo. Then the Dangerous Tekkers reverse it. I believe Zack put on octopus stretch, and Taichi kind of put on a half-hearted one. Shingo escapes a Zack Mephisto attempt. Then all 4 guys kind of brawl for a bit. They all get their stuff in. Taichi and Shingo exchange some strikes. Axe Bomber, and then Taichi hits a power bomb for a 2. Zack comes in, hits a penalty kick. Then Taichi clutch for a 2 count. Sanada comes in to help out. Shingo hits Last of the Dragon, and Shingo and Sanada get the victory over the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, I really like the Shingo and Sanada team. Like, I kind of thought this was going to be awesome. I mean, we've seen them do, like on, the Road 2 shows and stuff. But now that they're actually, in like tag matches with other the tag teams, this was good. This should not surprise anyone, but Zack and Shingo were awesome in there together. That's a singles match that I need in my life. Like to apologize to Taichi, or maybe he should acknowledge that and thank me for the advice, because after I shit on his performance the first night, he's had his work boots on in the subsequent 2 matches, so good for him. And yeah, I also noted Shingo and Sanada beat the tag champions, so that's a pretty good feather in their cap. And yeah, I really like this team of Shingo Takagi and Sanada.
This was one of the teams at the top of my list, as they are a new tag team combination, obviously because Shingo has not been in Lij for that long, just over probably a year and a half now, and
It's 2 years at Power Struggle, right? Or King of Pro Wrestling.
was it
It was
that?
2 years.
Wow. All right. So it's been 2 years, but Evil just left Lij, which it was Sonata's normal tag partner. So this is kind of a new partnership from Lij, and definitely the two one. I mean, all of Lij, all the guys in that faction are really really good, and this is just their two heavyweights really, other than Naito, but he is obviously all in on the singles division at the moment. So yeah, good match to finish out night 4, but still night 4 overall. It was okay.
Maybe one of the weaker shows. I thought that the main event made it well alone, and the semi-main was very strong as well. Which, like I said, like even if this isn't, it wasn't like Full Gear or the G1 block finals, but I don't feel like I wasted my time watching this show.
Yeah. Next up, we have Night 5, which happened the following night, November 20, 2020. Korakuen Hall in Tokyo once again. And again, it's Tomoaki Honma, Satoshi Kojima versus a young lion and Yuji Nagata, this time being Gabriel Kidd, who eats the lariat from Kojima and takes the pin.
Yeah, Kevin and Timo were talking about the timeline of becoming New Japan fans and who was on top, and it kind of made me feel nostalgic because I'm always going to have a soft spot for the third generation, Nagata and Tenzan and Kojima, Nakanishi, Koji Kanemoto, all those guys, because, they were the top tier of New Japan when I became a fan, except for Kojima, who was at the top of all Japan at the time. But anyway, they had a good little tag match, and then Kojima killed the young lion with the lariat for the pin.
While we're talking about young lions, just for a second, I did not realize that Katsuya Kitamura has basically had to retire. I was unaware of that.
That's a real bummer because man, he was a monster, and I just really thought that he could have been something. So
I
that's
thought
quite a
he
bummer.
was sent on excursion, and that's why I wasn't seeing him anymore. But that is not the
I
case.
I vaguely knew that there was something going on and something, but I wasn't sure. Did it? Are you seeing what?
Yeah,
What has
he
happened?
at New Beginning in Hiroshima. This would have been in what, 2018. Probably, it doesn't say the year. He suffered cerebral concussion, was unable to compete. Reported the severity may have forced him to retire, and it's been a year, no news on the condition. And as of January 31st, 2019, he had left New Japan. So, yeah, that's kind of a bummer. I was really looking forward to him coming back. I thought he was on excursion.
Yeah, but he was a monster. He was really impressive looking. It reminds me of another young lion that New Japan lost many years ago that could have been named Hiroshi Nagao, who was about 6'5" and just big, like he was smooth wrestler, and he ended up leaving, and he went to Hustle for a little while, and ended up leaving the wrestling business. So it's a bummer, man. That there are more than one of New Japan dojo graduates that might have been, but Akiya Enzawa, who was kind of a dojo contemporary of Taguchi and Hirooki Goto. It was like he ended up, I think, I don't remember if he was injured or what, but he retired to become a chef. And I'm like, man, you could have been the best one out of all of them. He was kind of like he was like a Ren Narita, like maybe not quite a Yuya Uemura yet, but like he was really good.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was Kenemaru, uh, Yugi. I don't remember Yugi, and Kenamitsu. I don't remember the last two, but they were all in the same. And for whatever reason, they are all gone. And then they were in the same kind of class as Kawato, and Great Khan. So.
Yeah.
Great Khan and Kawato are the ones that we get back. All right, moving on. We have Yuya Uemura, who is a very excellent young lion, and I'm looking forward to his future career. And he is very young comparatively to Kinemaru, who was in his mid-30s already. But I believe Uemura is only 22 or 23, and I'm looking forward to what he can do, because as a young lion, he is better than like a huge amount of people high up on cards elsewhere. So I'm looking forward to him versus El Desperado. Uemura charges in right after the bell. He attacks. He is after it. Desperado is ready for it, though, and rolls out of the ring before he even gets touched. Once they're both inside of the ring, they do some mat wrestling, some submission work. They move to the outside, and Uemura comes up on the wrong side of that, getting thrown into the barricade, body slammed on the floor. Back into the ring, Desperado does some work on Uemura's knee, a little bit of back and forth. Uemura got a pretty decent amount in this match. Uemura, he does pretty good. Desperado puts on a half crab, then transitions into the numero dos. Uemura scrambles to the ropes to break that up. Uemura gets on a flying armbar, and Desperado gets to the ropes to break that up. And then the simplest of finishes, Desperado pokes Uemura in the eyes and rolls him up and gets a 3 count.
Indeed he did. This was a lot of fun. Desperado just bullying the young lion and kicking his ass all over the place was good stuff. Uemura made a great comeback because he's an awesome, fiery babyface. Like, I think he's probably going to be the next great New Japan Junior Heavyweight. They need to send him on excursion and hope he develops the personality and bring him back to be a career rival for Hiromu Takahashi. I still think, I don't know if they'll go this direction, but I've always kind of wondered. I think that it would be awesome if when the 4th Tiger Mask retires, he passed the mask to Uemura. Uemura becomes Tiger Mask.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Would that be limiting, though, of Uemura? Does he have...
Well, okay, we'll find out. If it does, he could, there were 2 Tiger Mask who had the most success as Tiger Mask, and there were 2 who being Tiger Mask didn't work as well for, and they unmasked and became far bigger stars. So we'll see.
Next up, we have Doki versus the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion of Taiji Ishimori. Doki attacks before the bell, really before Taiji Ishimori can even get his jacket off. He still has his mask on. He hits a really high-speed dive to the outside, and then Ishimori is rung into the ring post. Gets a DDT on the floor. Ishimori turns around, though, once they get back into the ring. Of course, they work their way outside of the ring. Doki runs into the barricade a few times. Back in the ring, he tries a yes lock. Ishimori tries an yes lock, but Doki gets to the ropes right away. Back and forth, Doki works an Italian stretch. Ishimori avoids a suplex de la Luna. Ishimori hits a huge jumping knee. Doki runs Ishimori into the ref, and Doki hits Ishimori in the stomach with a pipe that he has been bringing to the ring. Ishimori, all is fair in war, grabs the title belt that was sitting in his corner and decks Doki with it, hits Bloody Cross, and gets the win.
Yeah, I thought this was quite fun as well. Doki has a fan. Did you see the kid with the Doki mask and face paint?
Yes.
Oh, I want a Doki COVID mask. Good for him. Doki has grown on me lately, especially when he started this match by dropkicking Ishimori out of the ring and then hitting him with a tope suicida.
He needs to scrap the 90s mesh shirt, though.
It works for him. It works for him. This is another good match where the outcome was never in doubt. I really think Doki should probably beat somebody in this tournament.
Well, I'm sure he's going to beat Uemura. Didn't he already beat Uemura?
I'm not sure that he's going to beat Uemura. That's the one that I think that Uemura is going to beat somebody in this tournament. I could be wrong. They don't always, but I think Uemura's going to catch somebody.
Yeah, it'd be hilarious if it was Doki. Doki is pretty much the lowest man on the totem pole in this tournament, and before Uemura got in, he was definitely the lowest on the totem pole, because Uemura is in there taking Kanemaru's place. So I don't know where that was going to go, but I'm pretty sure Kanemaru is going to get more wins than Uemura is going to, if he even gets one. So yeah, we will see how that goes. Next up, we have Master Wato versus Ryusuke. Jeez. Ryusuke. Yes, there you go. They shake hands before the bell. They actually start off with a pretty technical match with some mat wrestling and submission wrestling to start off. They go into some more of a chain wrestling sequence. Wato hits a corkscrew dive to the outside. Taguchi comes back and hits a over-the-top rope crossbody of his own. Wato hits some hard kicks. Wato goes for a sunset flip and pretty much pantses Taguchi. Taguchi reverses it, sits down, and pretty much bare asses to the face of Wato and gets the pin. So we have more Taguchi bare ass on this episode.
Yeah, that was disappointing. This I wrote they had a good serious match until the finish. I was so into this, and then like, what the shit was that?
Yeah. Yeah, that finish, while amusing, especially given Wato's reaction after the match, and just because I'm not a fan of Wato, so I also found that amusing anyways, because he was on the wrong end of that. Yeah, this seemed to be out of place, like way out of place for this tournament.
I was a fan of Master Wato until they booked him, and to the point that I became less of a fan.
Like, were you a fan of Master Wato, or were you a fan of Kawato?
I think the gimmick is funny.
Okay. Next up, we have what was definitely I'd say the match of the tournament so far. Would you agree on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have
maybe Hiroshi and Taichi, maybe similar stratosphere.
Yeah.
This is definitely the best match on either of these two shows.
Yes, Robbie Eagles versus Sho, and this is Chaos versus Chaos member, and they bump fists before the bell. They start off with a little submission wrestling, back and forth with some strikes and power moves. Eagles hits a crazy dive. Once again, he did the flip through the middle and top rope, and not only that, he was going so fast that he landed on his feet on the other side of the barricade. Eagles starts to work on the knee, and he works a little bit heel using some closed fists and selling it to the ref that it was his forearm. Sho hits a desperation spear and continues to sell the roughed up knee. He hits some kicks to the chest. Robbie flips out of a German suplex, hits a springboard drop kick to the knee. On the outside, Eagles hits a sliced bread on the floor by running up the ring post. That was pretty cool. Back in the ring, they have a striking exchange. Sho resists two running clotheslines, but then Eagles gets in a bunch of kicks, ending with a head kick that drops Sho to a knee. Sho catches Eagles running head scissors and just like stops it while he's doing the Rana, or the whatever you want to call it. He pulls him back up into a powerbomb position, and Eagles tries a Rana again. He pulls him back up. He kind of does like sunset flip, but Sho pulls him back up once again and hits a last ride power breaker, but it also hurt his own knee in the process. Eagles hits the turbo backpack. Eagle attacks the knee a bit more. He bitch slaps Sho a few times in kind of a heelish way, and Sho hits a flying knee, and then Sho runs right through an Eagles kick and then delivers a huge lariat, goes for the arm bar. Eagles gets the rope. Then he hits a straightjacket pile driver on Eagles for 2. Eagle flips out of a shock arrow, hits a few head kicks. Then Eagles hits a flip over DDT, kind of like a reverse DDT. And then hits a 450 splash to the leg, and then Eagles locks on the Ron Miller special, and he gets the tap out victory over Show. After the match, Show and Robbie Eagles bow to each other. They hug after the match, and now I kind of want to see Show and Eagles team up now that Ospreay is out of Chaos and Yo is injured.
You know, I like that idea, man. That's I hadn't thought of that, but that's great. Okay, the banter between Gino and Kevin Kelly is the best. So one of the ongoing stories, if you listen to the English commentary, is how Gino hates Robbie Eagles for quitting Bullet Club to join Chaos.
And so they're both Australian.
Yeah, and they're both Australian. So he's cheerleading for whoever wrestles against Robbie Eagles. So Kevin asked Gino, does Show know you're on Team Show tonight? And Gino replies, of course, how could he not be? And Kevin says, just matter of factly, you're thousands of miles away and there's a language barrier and he probably doesn't pay that much attention to you.
He probably doesn't. I think he said something along the lines, I don't think he even knows who you are.
Gino said, I don't think he knows who I am. Oh. I wasn't into Gino at first, and then just the long. He was over with me before this, but he grew on me, and their banter is ridiculous. They're not as good a commentary team as Kevin and Rocky, but they are very entertaining to listen to.
Yeah, I same thing. He had to grow on me a bit, but it was the same way as how Cyrus had to grow on me as well when I first started watching, when he first started doing commentary with Kevin Kelly as well. He needed to grow on me a bit, and now because he was a Bullet Club shill as well, and now Gino's taking up the Bullet Club mantle.
Yeah, I did catch Eagles did the dive through the top and middle rope again, and I actually saw it this time. That shit was incredible. I have no idea physically how that's even possible.
And he was going so fast, he landed on the other side of the barricade.
But I had never seen Robbie Eagles before he started in New Japan, and I'm just freaking blown away, with what an absolutely perfect white meat babyface he is. He just makes me want to put my fantasy booker hat on and think about what a star I would build this guy into.
Oh yeah, and the matches that he had teaming with Ospreay last late summer and early fall last year, those were amazing.
Yeah. And then as Robbie was leaving, he looked at the camera and declared that he was going to eat the Best of the Super Junior trophy. Yeah,
well, he said, I am hungry. I'm going to go get me some of that trophy. Or something along the lines. But he said I'm hungry, which was pretty funny.
He said he was hungry for the trophy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, this was a really good match. Like I said, I kind of want to see Show and Eagles team up now and be a tag team while their previous partners are either not in the faction anymore or are on the shelf. Next up, we have another intra-faction match. This is Bushi versus his own tag team partner, Hiromu Takahashi, and the match starts off fast. Both guys flying around, lots of strikes, running the ropes with some various lariats and other shots, drop kicks. Bushi takes control for a little while, back and forth they go. Bushi hits 2 code breakers for 2 counts. Hiromu catches Bushi's attempt at MX, and Bushi hits a hanging DDT on the apron. Then Bushi hits a wicked dive and rolls Hiromu back in the ring. Hiromu counters Bushi's another MX attempt into a code breaker of his own. Hiromu hits the buckle driver. Bushi attempts a roll-up. Then he hits a backstabber, hits another code breaker for a 2 count. Bushi then hits the MX on Hiromu, and Hiromu kicks out at 2. Hiromu starts to make a comeback. They exchange kicks and strikes. Hiromu hits a vertical facebuster for a 2 count. Bushi tries a roll up again for a very close 2 count. And both guys are basically out on their feet, it seems, at this point. They are barely with it. And Hiromu hits a running drop kick in the corner and then hits another buckle driver, hits a Death Valley driver, hits the time bomb, and picks up the 3 over his tag team partner, Bushi. I thought this was a pretty good match between the two of them. Bushi got a lot in this one, and kind of on commentary they're playing up, Hiromu has averaged over 20 minutes in his first 2 matches, where Bushi had only averaged 10. So, yeah.
Right, so the story of the match was that Hiromu was more beaten up and worn down from his first 2 matches than Bushi was, so Bushi had the advantage. But even when Hiromu made his comeback, he was fighting from underneath. It was an interesting way to do the match, and I thought it was very much to the credit of the wrestlers and the announcers to be able to tell that story so effectively, and to have the higher ranked guy play the underdog in a babyface match and have it work this well.
Right. Yeah. So we have a lot of jumbling up of both of the tournaments. So sitting here when we're talking about the best of Super Juniors, we have El Desperado sitting at 4 points, Ishimori sitting at 4 points, Wado, Taguchi, Eagles, Sho, Hiromu, all at 4 points. Bushi is the only one sitting at 2 points, and then we have Doki and Uemura sitting at 0. So we have a logjam of 7 guys sitting at 4 points at the end of this night. And then we have the same thing over on the tag side. We have Cobb and Khan, Finjuice, Evil and Yujiro, God, Ishii and Toriano, and then Taichi, Zack Sabre Jr., Shingo, Sanada. All those teams are at 4 points, just with Hirooki Goto and Yoshi-Hashi at 2 points. And then Henare sitting at 0 points, as well as Chase Owens and Bad Luck Fale. So kind of the same thing. 7 teams at 4 points, 1 team at 2, 2 at 0. So we have the exact same point totals in both tournaments at the moment.
Yeah, it's way too early to be worrying too much about point totals, but that it's with 3 shows in each, so who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, it could still go any different way at this time.
Yep. Curious how this works out, especially really everybody's kind of sitting at the same point, and the people who are at the bottom, I don't expect to move up. Really, I don't see them being anywhere near the top. Uemura and Doki are pretty much, you can pretty much write those 2 off anyways. And the only other one is Bushi sitting at 2 points. I don't think he's going to make it to the top, but yeah, everybody that you would expect is where they would be sitting in a 7-way tie for the top.
Yeah.
So yeah, all in all, I mean, these shows, like you said, I didn't feel like I wasted my time by watching them, but not a ton of huge matches. Robbie Eagles and Sho was definitely the best match out of either of these 2 shows, so that was a positive.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just some of the guys, man. I'm just like, even if they're not having the greatest matches, you kind of watch the guys and appreciate them more. And I appreciate Hiromu is just this year. I was a fan of Hiromu before, but just this year, he's had ever since the Tokyo Dome match at with Ospreay, and then everything just since the pandemic when he's been one of the more pushed guys. God, he's great, and I still say he's winning this. And so I had a thought, though. What if on one night of the Tokyo Dome, the best of the Super Junior winner gets the title match, And the other night, the Super J Cup winner gets the title match.
Oh, I forgot about the Super J Cup coming up in December.
Yeah.
That could work. We do already have, as we talked about after the first night, Takahashi has a win over the junior heavyweight champion, so he's basically already guaranteed at this point a title shot, regardless if he wins this tournament or not.
But he is going to win the tournament.
Okay. All right. Anything you want to talk about before we wrap it up here? AEW starts in about 19 minutes, so.
Are we doing AEW? Do we know yet?
I believe Daryl will be with me tomorrow.
Okay, well then I will be back in probably this weekend.
Yeah, we'll be back in a few days. English commentary is up for the next 3 shows, I think. So you can get watching those.
Follow me on Twitter at WrestlingClio, CLIO, and yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching. That's wrestling, everybody. I forgot to do an intro for the show. I forgot to even introduce the show. Thanks for watching. That's wrestling. If you have any comments, questions, feedback, you can send those to Eric at that'swrestling.com. You can also follow That's Wrestling 1 on Twitter. Also, there is a Discord server. You can come hang out with us. The link is in the show notes and the description. If you're listening to this as a podcast, head over to the YouTube channel because we do this show live over there. If you hit the bell notification, it'll let you know as soon as we schedule a live stream. That's pretty important when it comes to New Japan stuff because their schedule is all over the map, which means our schedule is all over the map for that. Thursday nights, though, we do a Dynamite review for AEW. And drop in your favorite podcast app of choice and give us a review. It really helps us out in the search results. So that is all from me. So for Trae Wisecarver, my name is Eric LaRoche, and you've been watching and listening to That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.